Have you been to Iran?
No.
Would you go there for the sake of work?
Yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Iran has suddenly become geopolitically very significant in the last 2-3 years. They've always been geopolitically significant, but they're in the news a lot more in the last 2-3 years, including this recent the Israel-Iran missile strike. We had Avijit Chavda on the show, who basically broke down the whole missile strike, and he said that it seemed to him like it was more of a show of power rather than an actual kind of attack. Like it was an attack that was easily intercepted by the Iron Dome of Israel. So specifically with Iran, what's happened in the last 2-3 years that they've risen to this point of geopolitical relevance. And also I remember just the phase that preceded this current one of being in the news, there was a lot of protests going on in Iran at the time of the Football World Cup and a little bit before that. Is that linked to this phase?
No.
Not at all.
Okay, let me give you an overview of Iran. I think we're covering countries and regions one by one. So Iran was, under the Shah, was completely pro-West, right? Very liberal. Iran is a Shia majority country. The other Arab powers are Sunni majority. So there is this sectarian divide. Post the 79 revolution, Khomeini came to power, the mullahs came to power, the clergy, and they dismantled everything that the Shah stood for, and they made it a very, for want of a better word, they turned it into a regressive society. They took away a lot of freedoms from women. So it became the Islamic law prevailed. I wouldn't say that Iran has become relevant now. Iran has been a relevant legit player because Iran is oil rich. So it had a lot of oil money. But back in the day, Iran had a war with Iraq under Saddam Hussein. If you talk about the current Iran or the past, say, 10 years, they entered into something called the JCPOA, the nuclear deal with America and some other powers, which said that Iran is not going to enrich uranium to make a bomb. And it will allow international inspectors to come, in lieu of which the West is going to lift certain sanctions. And because the Iranian economy was in the doldrums and it was not, inflation is still very high. So the regime thought, and then Iran also has these phases of hardliners coming to power and then moderates coming to power. So that was the phase where a moderate president was in power, although whoever is in power is essentially appointed by the supreme leader. And they have these different rings of power, all of which are controlled by this one man, who is the Ayatollah. So, but under Donald Trump, the Americans walked out of that deal unilaterally. They said, we don't, because Iran and Israel have this thing going forever. One says that you have no right to exist. The other says we will wipe you off the face of the earth. But there was never a direct clash between the two. So this is Iran versus the rest of the world, the West. Within the region, Iran has really spread itself thin. It has proxies everywhere. They have Hamas, they have Hezbollah in Lebanon, they have the Houthis in Yemen, they have a force in Syria. So they have their actors fighting regimes all over the region. Obviously, everyone has issues with them. This is where things are. In the middle of all of this, a 21-year-old girl is killed for not wearing the hijab properly, which triggered a lot of protests. It was called the anti-hijab protests. It started, I think, in 2022. Hundreds of people were arrested. Many were killed. So you see, it's been on the boil. Iran and Saudi Arabia have their own enmity. Saudi sees itself as a leader of the Muslim world, Sunni kingdom, home to the two biggest pilgrimage sites for Islam. Makkah and Medina. So I think a lot has been happening there. And to the point where the strike with Israel, it was a performative strike, where you wanted to tell your people that we've struck them, but you did not want any damage to be caused because you did not want the reprisal from the other side. Okay, very complex.
And kind of simple at the same time.
Okay.